easy as possible to deal with on the road. And this brings us to about how human minds process information, in particular signage. There's some obvious things here about how much signage can we process at one time and how are those signs laid out. So we need to control the pace of the information, and we also need to minimize the need for the brain to make certain responses, even if they're not decisions, it's responses to that information. The end of the Eastern Freeway is a good example of pacing information. So you can see overhead signs that are very simple, very large signs on the side of the road that, again, very simple and aligned with the lanes that people are on. And we give very positive information. Negative information can lead to an uncertainty as to what I'm meant to do. Positive information gives very clear direction on what people are meant to do. We need to ensure that signs meet those information needs. They need to be clearly seen, they need to be able to be read, they need to be understood, and they need to be believed to be true. You need to understand those words very well. So here's a little sign comprehensiveness quiz. Let's see how you do. I'm going to be silent for the first few seconds of each slide. Write down what you think each sign is. Hopefully you've got an answer by now. This is in Japan, and it's a stop sign. This one's tough. I like that third option. It's also in Japan, where they do wear funny hats, and it's a pedestrian only sign. Those red circles. Yeah, these circles are very interesting. This is motor vehicles banned, and red circles get used for a range of things around the world. This is a no overtaking sign, particularly used in Europe, but also in, I think, Japan. I think most of our Australian viewers will understand this sign. They seem to be everywhere, and this is a traffic safety camera. You could expect to see that in this area. So in terms of conspicuity, we need to ensure that signs are visible. These signs are visible. They're good examples, but you'll see many others on the road where there's trees that have grown over them, or they're cluttered and too small. Legibility, most of these signs in the bottom left, I can't read any of them, and it's not because I don't speak Italian, but we need to make sure the signs have the right size and dimension to make sure it's clear what people need to do. They need to be comprehensive enough that people understand what we're trying to tell them and how they should react. The parking sign in the middle there is probably a classic. Don't park, but motor vehicles are fine. And it needs to be credible. Does this sign apply to me? And do I really believe that I need to be aware of cows eating cars? I think that warning for no fuel, I'm going to believe that. That's pretty clear. There's variable message signs which offer some really good advantages because we can change them. But if the messages are not consistent, even between numerous signs on the one network, then we run into trouble. And we need to remember that we can't rely on signage because there's all sorts of different reasons, weather or human factors, that mean they might not be seen or understood.